In the top position, give it up for our blue Terran player, a world champion in his own right. He is BYUN. And his opponent down here in the bottom, introducing Alpha X's. Nice. So obviously there are a couple of different things that BYUN has been kind of not necessarily experimenting with, but he's been very kind of avid user of certain strategies against Protoss in recent months. Very aggressive two base pushes as he starts to move up to his own third. He just likes to put a little bit of pressure on with some siege tanks, some Marines, a little bit of stim as well. And it's really that momentum forward which really gives him a big edge in this matchup, because what that allows him to do is take that third base a little bit more quickly. And we have seen a lot of Terran players kind of just start to mix things up a bit and go for the much faster third base, trying to keep up with this kind of explosive power that Protoss players have been getting in this matchup. And now we do see Nice going to be going for a little bit of a cheeky shenanigan here. That was going to be a Stargate, and that will not go up, as well as that natural. Kind of just going to be very delayed here for Nice. So not really scrambling, but he is kind of having to adjust his playstyle right now to deal with these small inconveniences, I gotta say. So BYUN is going to be going up to 3 racks as well. This is a very aggressive opening from him. He is going to be able to just try and overwhelm his opponent very early on with an absolute multitude of units. And this is one of those things where if Nice really knew that this was coming, he would be in a much better spot to kind of just throw down some sort of Twilight build. That's the most powerful versus this, because there's so much non-splash damage in BYUN's army right now. But it looks like he is going to actually just try and keep this going, keeping the Void Rays up as well as those additional gateways. Not even going to expand, excuse me there. Just trying to keep BYUN in the dark as well by throwing down that pylon in the front, kind of just indicating that maybe he wants to expand, but is not going to. So BYUN really doesn't know completely what's up. He already does know that he killed off the Stargate that was already over here, but he doesn't really know about the follow-up here. He probably does have a little bit of an inkling, but it's going to come down to if he can hold on, get that stim, get the combat shields as well. He's going to be in a pretty decent spot, but already that bunker taking quite a bit of damage. That will go down, and that's really his best chance here. But we do see the Marines going to be just popping forward. Funnily enough, we don't see a shield battery for Nice. He's kind of just diving right on top of this already. And, I mean, just seeing the amount of gateways he has, he's pretty much all in with this. There is almost no expansion that you can get behind it. And, yeah, good start, but I don't know how much staying power this is essentially going to have because of the fast stim. Alright, he does dislodge that natural. That will not go down. And funnily enough, this is actually something that Nice did try to go for versus TY, a match I was just mentioning. Catches a bunch of BYUN's units on the other side of the map, and that's actually going to almost be it here. And there you go, nice and quick. Nice. Taking game number 1. In 5 minutes and 16 seconds. Fantastic start to the series there. That was almost a completely reactionary build style here from our Protoss phenomenon. But it's really did work out from what BYUN was going for. I really just don't like the 3 racks as a what do you call it? As a build order in this matchup anymore, just because there are just so many different ways that it can be stopped, that it's really just hard to say that it keeps you safe. And that's really what we saw Nice do. Nice took advantage of that. Easy game number 1. I'll shut up about that one because we are actually going to be in Pillars of Gold for our next map. And if we can keep that kind of momentum going, I'm sure this is going to be a fantastic one. So without further ado, spawning down here in the bottom position, let's see him and his innovative builds. He is BYUN. And his opponent up here in the top, the Terror of Taiwan. For Alpha X, he is Nice. Of course, in the last game, he was not nice at all, unfortunately. Okay, so one thing I'm expecting from this is one of those maps which does kind of lend itself to some semblance of aggression. BYUN does like to find this position up here at the top of the ramp as his, excuse me there, I apologize. But as he finds the position up here at the top, it really forces the engagement right here near the 3rd base of the Protoss opponent. And it really can cause some issue for the Protoss to try and engage into that. We do see nothing too crazy coming up from either side just yet. The Cybernetics core coming down for Nice before the Nexus. So that is going to give BYUN a little bit of a chance to move his way in here. And he is actually going to scout that there is still no Nexus out. So that's going to give him a little cause for concern, especially seeing the Zealot going to be coming across the map. What does he have to do? He just has to wall off. He just has to keep himself a little bit safe. And you see he is going to just react immediately with that bunker. I like this move, especially just building on the high ground. It slows you down a little bit, but not by a lot. Now behind this, it is a little bit more standard, I would say, for BYUN. Getting that factory up is nice. One thing we have seen Terran players as well do, they get that one Hellion, which allows them to kind of get that little bit of scouting information, reads the move out, and it can be used to deal with this first Adept that comes out, and really just good move overall. In every aspect here, we do see this SCV going to be taken down as well, trying to get more information. Did he see the Stargate? He did not. BYUN taking no chances whatsoever, however. Just going to be getting some information out near his base as he sets up for potentially a Wood of Mine drop. And see, I like this. Nice is going to be getting... Okay, never mind. He cancels that immediately, goes straight for the Void Ray. So once again, he's going to try and be a little bit aggressive, but this won't really have as much staying power here. We'll have to see if he does decide to throw down the additional gateways. Yeah, so you know, it's going to come down to kind of how long they decide to hide these as well, too. If we're going to take a look at the armies, they're relatively equal. BYUN just has a bunch of cheaper units, so that's why he has a little bit more. And now the Widowmine's actually going to be in a little bit of trouble because this does get scouted out by Nice. Really good timing on that next probe coming in. Kind of an odd timing there as well, I gotta say. That might be a mistake rally there from Nice, but it does do what it needs him, what he needs it to do. The Void Ray, though, a little bit out of position, so he will be able to boost in. Unfortunately, though, his full attention is on this, so this should not get too much done. All right, good focus fire micro there. Gonna get one of the stalkers instead of dealing with one of those pesky probes. So overall, just nice small moves, trying to make sure that he gets some semblance of value out of that. We do see him kind of gearing up for his next stage of attack. He's going to be going for siege tanks. And now a couple of things that he has to keep in mind. There is a Stargate out on the map, but he hasn't seen any Phoenix. I think that's going to be a pretty big indicator for him. If he doesn't see those, that he is going to be safe to continue on with this attack. But already this Oracle going to get a couple of worker kills. Yeah, without the Phoenix, this becomes a much scarier push for BYUN, as we do see the Void Ray is going to be coming in and actually going up to Storms. So obviously changing things up from normal Protoss matchup here. Might even get the Raven if BYUN's not careful. He wants to have that good positioning in order to halt the advance. Yeah, Void Ray is really just doing a good job of keeping this home in the base. We do see the Oracle kind of just hanging out there, just waiting to go in. It needs a little bit more energy for Revelation. But all of this is essentially just to buy time for Nice to build up, to get that Storm, to get charge up. So now any sort of push that BYUN goes for is going to be so much weaker, and unfortunately he keeps getting spotted out on the map with these medevacs, so he's going to be able to keep his units in position to catch these drops. But here we go. The big move out has come. Storm is just about to complete. There we go. He is going to have 3 High Templars worth of it. Looking for his standard positioning here. Close to the third base, it looks like. If he can kind of bait out some of those storms before the fight happens, that's going to be his best situation. Already going to find a nice angle just to get one of these pylons. Not going to depower or anything, but just going to force some of Nice units back to the main base. And again, I love these moves from Nice. He's just waiting for BYUN to move out so he can get that backstab in. Just kind of deal with the economy here, because that third base not done just yet. The Ghost Academy already on the way, but it's going to be really late to deal with the storms. We do see a little bit of a drop going to be coming in. Gets maybe 1 worker killed there. Yeah, just about 1 worker. Oh no, once again gets caught, but he will be able to get the Oracle. Revelation did go down on these medevacs, so he knows that he's not going to try anything here. But here we go. Nice. Going to catch the army completely surrounded. 2 big storms and a feedback. Going to kill off 2 of those medevacs. 1 of them full. And there's just a little bit too much zealot firepower here for these tanks to deal with. As those get a little bit weaker, this might be a little bit more doable, but the reinforcements coming in, I think that's pretty much going to be it for this army. Just trying to bait it away so that he can get some semblance of defense in the natural. But I don't think Nice is going to want to stick this one out any longer here. Just going to head straight up that ramp and close this one out. 24 workers going down and more soon to follow. Doesn't even need the storm energy at this point as the EMP goes on off. That's just a little bit too much. And I gotta say, BYUN really struggling versus Protoss. This, not just this series, but I think it's kind of his worst matchup recently. If you take a look at his stats, he's currently sitting on 65%, and that is his lowest win rate, all things considered. So he's really going to have to battle his way back in this one, as he is 3 games away from elimination. Gonna set one thing. There, as we go on to Submarine for our next map. If you guys are enjoying this series, make sure you check out our Match Arena page to help those players out. If you use our code AX283, you will add 50 cents to the prize pool for absolutely free. And that does mean that's 50 cents goes to these players who are playing so hard for our amusement. And you know what? They've earned it. And you guys have earned it too. So let's hop in to map number 3. Up here in the top, he may be down, but he is certainly not out. This is his battleground. Spawning in, he is BYUN. And his opponent down here in the bottom, he's realized that if you kill the momentum, that's how you kill the BYUN train. Spawning in for Alpha X, he is Nice. Now, as most players know, there is such a short rush distance on this map in the TVP meta. It is very good for the kind of pushes that BYUN enjoys. Basically, he does like to go for, you know, the 2 siege tank, 3 siege tank push across the map, which gives him a lot of room to breathe as he drops his own 3rd base. And once he starts to kind of get that momentum going, it becomes really difficult to stop him with just these tier 1, tier 1.5 units. It forces you to tack up in the middle of a big engagement, and that's just really something that a lot of Protoss players don't like to do. Now already, BYUN is just going to be skipping the Reaper once again. He just got the timing on that natural with the SCV. That's really all you need as a Terran player. Getting that first Marine and then going straight up to Reactor is a much better play, because that allows you to have 3 Marines out by the time that first Adept moves across the map. And it's just so much safer for you here. Although, once again, he's going for 3 racks. I am a little bit worried about that, especially if Nice kind of gets an idea that this is coming. He can start to just spam much more aggression out. And yeah, there you go. Twilight Council coming down. That's almost not necessarily a hard counter, but it is a counter. Did get up the ramp, but the Adept Shade does not have the vision that it once did, so just going to come in here, try and get a couple of pickoffs before diving out. And he has not seen this just yet, but Blink is going to be on the way here. All right, BYUN gets the first big pick off there. The Adept going down, but he's running out of Marines. The bunker will finish, so it's kind of just bait the Stalkers to your natural. Now he knows something's up, and he can kind of play this one a little bit more defensively. I do kind of want to see him at least get one Marauder out, maybe two, rather than stick with just pure Marines, because obviously the Stalkers do a very good job of kiting those back with their superior range. It's just a very hard hold here, and you can see Nice is once again going to be all in with this strategy. There is no transition available to him. Now, one thing I like about this as well is Nice isn't going to bother with the Observer. He knows that BYUN is pretty much just going to know that's coming. So instead, he's going to be going for the hallucinated Phoenix to get that high ground vision. And there is a beautiful location to kind of siege up here. And unfortunately for BYUN, he is going to be moving out. That's going to make him a little bit susceptible to a wraparound here, as Blink did complete. So that means now his main base is completely forfeit. He's going to have to rely on the reinforcements to deal with this, and he doesn't really have a lot of reinforcements to speak of. And unfortunately for him, he is just going to go home. That's going to slow him down quite heavily. Does miss the force field, however. So that will allow these SCVs to come up and kind of buffer for the Marines, and that's actually going to mean he's losing a Stalker. And we'll actually lose a little bit more as the attack comes home. A little bit of a misstep here from Nice. But you know what? Like I said, there is really no big transition for him off the back of this. He really can't afford to keep this up and transition out of it as well, even though he will try. We do see quite a few units here from BYUN. That's going to be enough to kind of force this back. The Stalker is going to be looking for this army, which, by the way, does not have any medevacs, so every single stim is going to be deadlier and deadlier. So that is just one other thing that BYUN has to be very careful about. Recall is forced, will shut down the Cybernetics Corps, but that's not really that big of a deal here. This gets easily cleaned up by the Stalkers, and now Nice. While the transition is very unlikely in this situation, one of the best ways to deal with 3 racks is after you know that it's there, you just get as greedy as possible. Double Forge already dropped, additional gateways coming on down, and the third base, as we saw earlier, dropped. And now just going to try and focus fire down some of those Marauders, but we'll have to get on out of there as he sets up another forward position. Now, as time goes on, BYUN is going to be in a better and better situation as he gets his third base up, as he starts to kind of get those upgrades popping, because he will have 1-1 a little bit quicker than Nice. But we do see BYUN is going to get the scout out, sees the forward position, might send a couple of units over there to deal with that, because that is the most dangerous position for him, as he is going to be kind of just dancing around the center of the map. But yeah, Nice really just stuck on what he has. He's down over 20 army supply right now, relying heavily on the Zealots with charge to make this work. And that's going to be a little bit of a hard tell here because the Widow Mines are going to be able to clean up quite a bit of that. And now it's just pure Stalker. And this army eats that for breakfast. We do see a small run by. Going to be coming into BYUN's third base. But the reinforcements should be enough to clean that up, and they are. Shield battery overcharge is popped, but BYUN does have this nice safe position that he can retreat to at the top of the ramp, cutting off the third and the natural. And now with the reinforcements coming on in, I don't know how Nice holds this any longer. He has sacrificed so much to make this work. And we should see the tap out here very, very soon. There you go. GG is called. BYUN puts his name on the board. So, all right, that is him battling it back. Just a little bit more of that, and you know, we should be feeling pretty good here as BYUN. Now we just got to get Nice to decide his map. Let's see what he chooses. He is going to choose Romanticide. And now, you know, we are 3 games. We are 3 games in at this point, so we kind of see how the ebb and flow of the series is going. If BYUN is able to hold on, then he is going to be able to just get that power push in, and he's going to be able to kind of knock his teeth in, or knock his opponent's teeth in, while if Nice can kind of stop that momentum with those early attacks. This very looks like a little bit of a bug. So Nice is just going to relog here. All right, so we're just going to wait from him. But, yeah, I'm very excited to see what BYUN does decide to do in this game as, you know, he does have a couple of additional things that up his sleeve that we just haven't seen yet, such as you know, he's got the 2-1-1 that he's modified pretty nicely for this matchup. Let's see. Let's remove that from the lobby and invite the game. A little bit of a bug here, guys. Sorry for that. Thank you for your patience. All right, bear with me, guys. I apologize for the delays. Just trying to get Nice in. Just a little bit of a log bug. You know how this works. Check out our sponsors at gfuel.com. Okay. Figured out the issue. He was having some problems. With the VPN, I think. All right. There we go. Apologize for the delay. Guys, we're going to be hopping into Romanticide for our next map. And this is one of the more standard macro maps that you will see in this matchup. You do have all this just big maze of ways that you can kind of get around, and we've seen that Nice really does want to abuse those positions, the backstabbing, the hidden proxies all over the place. We'll have to see if he can do it again, because we've got the world champion spawning in the top position. He is representing himself and the 4 horsemen of the Terran race. He's BYUN. And his opponent down here in the bottom, give it up for Nice. You know what, funnily enough, I think BYUN is really the only 4 horsemen who's still doing like fantastic in the current meta. And the only reason I say that is because a lot of Terran players kind of been struggling a little bit against the unquenchable thirst for victory out of players like Stats, Zest, and even our own like second place finisher of Super Tournament, Zaun, coming on up and doing massive amounts of work as well. So just a lot of powerful players right now. And yeah, the 4 horsemen, kind of not as scary as they used to be. BYUN, though, just scary as ever. You know, he's always in your face in these games. There's never really a point where you can kind of feel safe, especially when you see that first SCV. That's the scariest thing, when you haven't dropped your first Nexus. Because, you know, I think BYUN is the one to drop the injury bait the most often versus his opponents, and it's the most annoying to deal with. And once again, we did see the skipped Reaper. BYUN just really doesn't find any value out of it anymore, just because you don't really see too much, and it's just very easy to get picked off either by that first Adept or a Stalker in the main base. You really don't see too much with it anymore, so that's why it's kind of just good to play it a little bit safer. Get that SCV Scout and power up behind that with your racks and factory. Nice, going to be mixing it up as well. He's going straight for the Robo facility. We should see, just keep an eye, if he throws down additional gateways, that's going to indicate that he wants to be much more aggressive. BYUN trying to kind of bait him into letting that Shade finish with that wall off. A little bit of a mind game there, but Nice not going to take the bait at all, as he will be kind of getting just prepared for the potential Widow Mines coming across the map, which, by the way, there are Widow Mines coming across the map. Look at that, even just going to fake the Oracle. BYUN not taking the bait, however, so these guys just trying to get into each other's head. This is actually hilarious to see. Just going to let that run on out, as we see 7 Marines going to be going across the map rather than the Widow Mines. Now, there are already shield batteries, so there shouldn't really be too much damage done with this. We got the Raven on the way. Twilight Council going to be finishing up here soon. So far, nice. This is the first time he's really getting a good glimpse of that. It's going to have to BYUN is going to have to focus fire a lot down. He will be able to get shield battery. Maybe a stalker or two as well. This is actually a really good scout behind this as well. Just really getting all the information that he needs. Nice not mining whatsoever on that main. So even though BYUN does have to get out of there with only 3 workers killed, just take a look at that income advantage. That is the power of these small plays right now. Slow down your opponent and destroy him. That's the name of the game. And he's not done yet. He's going to be going towards that third base, so the Stalkers are going to have to reposition. The Raven going to be coming in a little bit too early, so that will get shooed away. But that is just waiting to go here. The focus fire, really good, going to take down that first sentry. The Stalkers are going to fall, as well as that Adept. Shield battery is going to be a little bit late here, but the medevac keeping everything alive for the time being. I think he will have to get on out of here, but he's going to get as much value out of this drop as humanly possible. I believe Stim has completed. But, okay, no, it has not completed just yet, so the Stalker we'll have to still chase this around. They don't have Blink. But yeah, that was overall just a really good drop from BYUN. 6 workers going down, but so much more damage in the units killed. Just taking a look at that sentry, a couple of Stalkers, all for only 5 Marines. Alright, the drop does come back in here. The Raven, I mean. And that will get 3 additional kills. Is that medevac still hanging out? It is indeed. And now that's just going to kind of distract Nice from this big, powerful push coming across. He will get a glimpse of it, however, with this Observer. So now he is going to be able to have those units in position. He does have charge. He went for it over Blink. The Viking going to be dropping on the high ground, actually. Really nice positioning there. And again, BYUN just really just trying to force the multitask out of Nice. But here we go. The Zealots are all dead. The Immortal gets his shot off, so the shield will go off. Now BYUN just really forcing Nice back. He might lose the third base. He's already lost 10 workers overall. But while Nice might be able to push this back, he is expending quite a bit to do so. And BYUN going to save quite a few of those units. Every time I say quite a few, that's a shot in a drinking game. But once again, just a fantastic value for our blue Terran. So now Nice kind of scrambling here. He is going up to Storm rather than going for any sort of Colossus. He just feels like he'll get a little bit more value, but he has to wait for that to finish. Doesn't look like BYUN's going to really give him the time to do so here as the force field is trying to force this back, but there's really just no energy left for that. Shield battery popped, and that's going to go down. As we see a pretty big drop going to be coming out here as well. Going to go straight for the Templar Archives. Storm barely finishes there, but there's just not really enough to defend both locations, and that does mean that there's no more High Templars. This is all he has. I feel like this is a little bit of a death by 1,000 cuts situation here. Nice just really struggling to find an edge where he can get a good engagement. Although BYUN does kind of eat quite a deadly storm right there. I mean, it's essentially at what cost? There you go. With double the army supply, BYUN gets the tap out, and we are tied up 2 apiece. So trying to get Nice back in the party. So let me just invite that young man. Yeah, I hope you guys are having a fantastic time. Make sure you do check out that Mantorino link. Everything helps out quite a bit. And I mean, it's completely free. So while we're kind of getting this countdown started, let me just introduce. So this is the lovely page here. You can see the contribute button up here. Just sign in to contribute. I'm going to use our Twitch as the way to do it, and look at that. You just type in AX283. That'll add 50 cents to the prize pool. As you can see, that will go up here if you just refresh the page. That's just the additional. And there's also some other things you can do, like getting into the event replay pack. We sell that, as well as some awesome merchandise. This stuff is really high quality. I really enjoy it. But you know what I enjoy more? I enjoy game number 5. So without further ado, spawning in the bottom position of Death Aura, he is our blue Protoss for Alpha X. Nice. And his opponent up here in the top, really finding his footing in the last couple of games. He is BYUN. All right, so obviously Nice has been trying to be very aggressive. That's kind of his play style overall. It's how he defeats most of his opponents, is just getting in your face very early. The problem is with BYUN, he's doing the exact same thing. And the thing about early aggression from Terran is that it's so much more, I want to say, potent than it is for as a Protoss. Just because you do get these cheaper units which come out a little bit quicker, and they're really good at kind of just deflecting that early aggression while powering up, getting the units that you need to move out and push, as we did see in the last couple of games. Now, he is going back into Stargate play. I like this. Stargate can be very powerful, especially in a defensive position. But, you know, it's going to depend. How defensive are you going to be? Are you going to be making Phoenix this time rather than trying to go for Void Rays like we've seen out of him so often? This Adept might be dead, by the way. Yep. So yeah, it is going to be Phoenix this time, which I like this a little bit better. Phoenix do kind of allow you to stay safe versus the drop-heavy play that BYUN has been going for. Especially now we do see that he is going to be gearing up for either Widowmine or a Marine drop, and the Phoenix is just going to be really good at slowing that down. Although not if you fly them into Widowmines. That is a pretty big equalizer, I gotta say. Go for the easy pickoffs here, but he does weaken those quite significantly. Doesn't kill them, however, so they are still kind of just flying around the map with a lot less utility, but they're still dangerous opponents as those shield batteries, their shields rather, recharge. As he's going up to a third base, he only has these 2 Adepts back at home, and BYUN is posturing outside his natural. Oh my goodness, this could be very risky for BYUN if this doesn't work. But there are no shield batteries, so he will be able to kind of just have this staying power. Widowmine's not really going to get too much done here, but the Adepts are going to start to whittle this down, and as they get that number low enough, that is going to be pretty decent here. But again, because he got so weakened on these Phoenix, they are so exposed to these first couple of Marines. But he will be able to chase BYUN back across the map, as BYUN already going to be gearing up for his next big push. Like I said before, this is one of those timings that BYUN really likes. He has his third base up, but not mining just yet, losing the Raven though. Oh my goodness. But as he drops that base, he is going to be wanting to go for just a bit of an offensive posturing here. He does have a nice position right here that he can siege up the tanks in range of that third. And it can be a tricky position even with the Phoenix to deal with, although going up to a second Stargate here. Nice, you absolute madman. Phoenix going to be coming on in, getting quite a few worker kills as the Marines just have to chase this around. Not going to be able to. Yeah, nice. Taking a really heavy lead here in terms of that supply. Even going to get the Colossus rolling on in this time. And my goodness, everything's just kind of coming up nice right now. Giving a little bit of a helping hand, killing his own units here. A little bit unfortunate. Also going to be losing the Widowmines, trying to reposition there. 6 more workers going on down, so these Phoenix just really becoming so much of a nuisance that BYUN is just going to say, the heck with it. I'm going to try and drop you, but already the Phoenix are heading on home. Or not. Barely going to save that medevac there, but the recall is going straight back home to the natural, and that is going to be pretty much the end of this aggression from BYUN, but he's still going to want to posture just a little bit. And now taking a look at his game plan right now, what does he have? He's got Marines and a couple of Widow Mines. That's it. Up against Colossus, Phoenix, as well as +1 going to be on the way as well. Looks like Nice is going to be going to the later stages of the game as well because he's got that third Stargate coming in. My God. BYUN is in a world of hurt right now if he doesn't get a scout out of this. Kind of interesting here. It's almost as if BYUN is preparing for the possibility that this is Tempest, or not Tempest, but a Templar. Just because he does have the Ghost and the Static EMP, but now that he does see the fact that it is carriers, that's going to give him a little bit of a prompt here to move on in. The Phoenix going to clean up quite a few of these Marines. There's just not enough of them, but they will be able to kill off one of the carriers. The second one will not fall, however. So BYUN expending quite a bit of that attack, and the Sky Toss reigns supreme. Oh my goodness, this is not looking good for him right now. Would have been a little bit better if he could have gotten that second Colossus. So now Nice going to be able to pop these out 3 at a time. He's going to get that second robo facility as well and just start to kind of enforce this position with the photon cannons and the additional shield batteries coming on up to the 4th. Question is, what really can BYUN do at this point? He's just going to be pumping out Marines and Marauders for the time being. That's really not enough. EMP going to go down, getting rid of a lot of that energy, but there are still some liftoffs left, as well as just sniping some of the medevacs. That's pretty nice. All right, getting 11 workers is pretty good. If you can kind of keep your opponent down in terms of that worker supply, that's really going to be the way you're going to get back into this. But as time goes on, that Sky Toss army is just going to get bigger, and then those interceptors will rain hellfire upon you. Again, though, going to be trying to find an opening. Before that happens, some really good splash coming down on those Colossus. Going to force a good majority of this back. The slow Zealots as well, just doing what they can. And BYUN doesn't want to engage in this position. So he will kind of back off and just keep the posturing up. But he can't keep it up for much longer. Here he comes once again, but once again the Colossus just getting fantastic shots even before the engagement begins. the interceptors as well, baiting a lot of that Widowmine shots into his own army. And now it's a bit of a fighting retreat. But there's not that much energy left on the Graviton Beam, so he's going to try and come forward and pick up the Colossus. He does get them, as well as one of the carriers, forcing a recall. But he doesn't really have enough to keep the pressure going. Over here, though, I totally missed this. A ton of Marauders going to be coming in and just steamrolling this base before the Phoenix coming on in to clean on up. A little bit of a seesaw going on. Nice. Doesn't have enough to defend both locations. He's taken quite a bit of damage. Just taking a look at that fight overall. Looks pretty even, but it's that gas that's the only thing bringing it in his favor, as he lost a carrier, a bunch of those Colossus, as well as 26 probes. And now BYUN going to be kind of just smelling that blood in the water. Hopping on in for another big strike. You know, at first I really didn't like the addition of the Ghosts, because while they are a bit tanky, they're not that good versus the composition of Nice. But with the EMPs, I think they're really helping out quite a bit versus these carriers, just making it a little bit easier to engage in. But now I think that carrier count a little bit too high for the amount of Marines. It looks like all the Ghosts have faltered away as well. So BYUN kind of just trying to bait Nice forward. But unfortunately, there are carriers in position to, or they all start with C. There are cannons in position. I feel like if you can get rid of this Phoenix count, that's going to make it a little bit easier to kind of engage in, because it means your medevacs are going to survive just a little bit longer. But here we see a maxed out Nice finally going to be moving across the map for himself, as EMP is going to be going down, blanketing the army. There is still quite a bit, though, on the ground. The Marauders going to be inching their way forward, trying to get on top of the carrier, or Colossus. And it looks like BYUN, as his supply starts to plummet, he's going to be forced back to his own fourth. And he really just doesn't have a way to deal with this army anymore. It's pretty much just F2ing his entire army back, looking and maybe just hoping for an angle to get in. I don't really see him defending this too well here, as the interceptors in the sky just absolutely going ham. If you can get rid of those, that might be something here, but the Vikings have fallen. Those Marines are in the yellow health, and they are continuously trying to stem their way forward. Although, it looks like the carriers are actually out of interceptors, but the Colossus on the ground doing what they can. Did BYUN actually hold? He did, and he's going to get a couple more carriers before the recall finishes. Okay. I take it all back. This army is fantastic for what he's doing here. Nice. Actually down in supply for the first time in a while. Scan's going to go down, revealing everything. That is not a BM scan. That is just how many bases do you have? Can I still win this? And I guess the answer from here on out is yes. Just don't give Nice too much more time. BYUN actually out mining Nice almost 2-1 here as well. So what looked to be a fantastic position for him has really just, it's gone downhill very, very quickly. I think the problem was that the Interceptors weren't fighting in range of the Colossus. And that really just allowed BYUN to get the perfect engagement here. And now, with a 50 army supply lead, EMP is going down, blanketing this army. Being very cautious not to advance up the ramp. The shield battery popped a little bit too early. As BYUN looking for a position, he just doesn't want to throw things away just yet. Oh, that is definitely true. Stream Raiders would be really fun to play on Trovo. Maybe in the next update. But here we go. BYUN posturing outside the third. EMPs once again just skyrocketing ahead. The Disruptors trying to find some damage, but BYUN is able to just clean those out. Some good AoE damage coming down on the Colossus, so they will survive for a little bit longer. BYUN, a little bit of a miss micro there, will be forced back. But, you know, he doesn't have to give up this position for a long, long time. As long as he keeps resetting that Interceptor count, those carriers are pretty much just flying paperweights. And you can kind of feel the desperation from Nice, just trying to force BYUN back home by posturing outside the third. That is a lot of mules at this point. I would say if you're BYUN, you kind of just throw away some of those SCVs so that you can build an even bigger army than you have right now and just rely on the mules for your sustenance. I digress on that point, however. The carriers have been able to re-intercept their interceptors. They're just not really in big enough numbers here. We're talking about 6 carriers versus a completely maxed out BYUN. Already the pre-engagement coming down. Nice, going to be able to get some really good splashes down. Cleans up quite a bit of BYUN's army, but he's already remaxed and ready to go. 9 workers going down, and that base will fall. So really Nice is just getting starved out quite heavily, I'd have to say. And BYUN even going to be able to find a really big angle as a Protoss player is out of position entirely. The one disruptor not going to be enough here. And BYUN going to be able to just retreat on into the third and get even more done before getting on out. Nice, kind of sees the writing on the wall. GG. BYUN inches his way forward in this one. You know what? That was a result I was not expecting. I felt like after Nice got up to critical mass, that it would have been a little bit better for him. But, you know, I digress. That's just the power of BYUN. He gets those engagements where a lot of other Terran players wouldn't. You know, I'm almost certain that his units have some sort of buff. And I'm not talking about Stimpack. All right, it is... Now it is Nice's map pick. We're going to be going on to a little bit of a bigger map, Jaga Nantha. And these players are readied up. No rest for the weary. And by the way, guys, stick around after the series. We're actually going to be getting a couple of replays. I've got... the request to do some U-Thermal versus Serral and Showtime versus Serral. So a couple of Europeans going to be coming up right after this series. And those are just going to be 2 best of ones. yeah, stick around. In fact, I'm going to actually download those, so that we have them at the ready. You know what? We are ready to hop into game number 6. Spawning up here in the top position. Crazy games out of him so far. He is representing the dragon. He is Zaun. You know what? I don't know what I just said. It is 2 a.m. and I am literally running on fumes. But this guy certainly isn't. He is all gassed up and ready to go. Spawning in the bottom, he is BYUN. If I did say Zaun, this is nice, by the way. He's a little bit different. Much different playstyle. Oh, God, size matters. Now you got me all confused. Now I'm going to be mixing them up all night. Thanks a lot, man. But what's not going to be mixed up here is we do see BYUN just kind of getting that scat out, sees the Nexus being dropped, and that's all he really wants to see. He doesn't care what Nice is going to be going for on this map. He just wants to confirm that it's not going to be one base shenanigans again. We saw Nice really kind of just shying away from that in the last couple of games, but game number 1 and 2, oh, Nelly. They were a doozy to deal with here for BYUN. I'm just kidding, size matters. We love you, man. You deserve a vacation because you're always so hardworking in the chat. All right, so BYUN going to be going for kind of a large map meta build. He's got his third CC already building on up, and that's going to allow him to stay relatively equal with his opponent in terms of those, in terms of that third base getting down. And that third base is, I want to say, the most important base for a Terran player, because that allows you to kind of build up very, very quickly. It's the war machine, essentially, from for a Terran, if you remember the old Husky builds. This does get scouted. It is a fake Oracle. Off the back of this, it's a 2-on-1, or a version of a 2-on-1, possibly even 3 racks. That is very good to hear. Size matters. When every day is a vacation, you never work a day in your life. That Stalker really could use a vacation right now. You can see he's feeling a little blue. No pun intended. Oh, who am I kidding? That was completely intended. So now BYUN going to be moving on in. There's really not a lot at home here, so he is going to have to rely on that shield battery to push this back. Stim about halfway complete, as well as that +1. So the real big move out for BYUN is going to be once he gets those first couple of medevacs, but that's going to be quite a long ways away, as the factory only just now completing. Now Nice does have kind of a defensive blink coming on in. I think there's no real point in, at this point, trying to move across the map with this, because once you do so, you really just open yourself up to a counterplay. And I mean, right now he is just going to decide, you know what? You want to be greedy? I'm going to be even greedier. Dropping down that double forge, going to get potentially an upgrade advantage here, which is going to be pretty important to him as this game goes on, because that's really going to be what keeps him safe versus any sort of push that BYUN goes for. We have the gateway explosion coming on in. Right after the blink finishes, charge should follow. And I mean, from right now, it looks like just a power-up move from both sides. Neither one really wanting to pull the trigger just yet. Did Nice scout that is the big question. So far, the answer is no. But the Stalkers are going to be moving into position anyway, kind of just expecting this timing. And there you go. It is scouted for real this time. Now the Stalkers kind of have to harry back to the main base. A little bit of a feint here down at the cliff. The main army is actually going to be heading towards the third. He has to be careful fighting up these ramps because there is quite a lot of force field energy here. Nice. Just really doesn't have the tools right now. It's still slow zealots, and even the force field's not going to be able to cut off a lot of this army. Most of it gets saved. So BYUN lives to fight another day. Now it's really just building a time, buying time rather, for Nice as he needs to get charged. He needs to get these +2 upgrades, and it looks like he wants to go up to Colossus as well off the back of this. All good moves. He just needs to make them work. Especially as this stage in the game, BYUN is just going to be in his face completely. His saving grace, however, is he does have really good vision of the common attack paths. So we are going to see that work in his favor here, but the Immortal going to get sniped down very, very quickly. Charge about 10 seconds away from finishing. Will there be enough Zealots? The answer is going to be no. As he just reinforces with the drop, actually. What am I going to take down the last of the Zealots? So it's just pure Stalker, and that is the army that BYUN will fight against all day. Shield Battery does get popped, and the Warpin will be enough to kind of force this back a little bit, but Nice really can't engage outside of his base. He's forced into this choke. And I think from here, it's just really too difficult to say that he can hold on as the Colossus dies off. There's no energy left in the shield battery, and there you have it. BYUN, after a shaky start, he goes up to match point. And that's kind of the thing about BYUN. He takes a little bit to warm up sometimes. You know, you'll think you're doing great. It's like, wow, I'm 2 games up against BYUN. I'm doing great. I'm going to crush him. And then all of a sudden, like, no, those were just warm-up games. Oxide is our last map. Looks like. All right, getting Oxide for our map number 7. After this, the map pool will reset, but that is if Nice can win it. We do have BYUN ready on up, and Nice as well going to give us the go-ahead. And yeah, there is a potential for an ace match. If you guys are watching on YouTube, we're just having a little conversation in the live chat. But yeah, BYUN does have the potential to close things out right here and right now. Will he be able to do it? Quite a few angles for him to do so. So we'll have to be ready for that, as I get the wrong scores. Spawning in the top position. He's got a probe, sneaky probe, coming out very, very early. He is Nice for Alpha X. And his opponent down here in the bottom, looking to finish it. He is BYUN. All right, so the probe, it was a bit early, but it is just going to be here just to be a bit of a nuisance to BYUN right now. He just wants to slow down that Rax however he can. And this is kind of forcing BYUN to pull some attention away. Not really a lot. So, you know, the question is, are we going to see a return to form here? Nice. Excuse me 1 second, guys. All right, so, you know, we are going to have the Reaper coming across. He feels like he can get a little bit of value out of that this time. And yeah, I kind of agree that this is one of those maps where it becomes a little bit more important to kind of get information out. We'll have to see if he does decide to kind of just send that around the map as well to scout the more normal positions for Cheese. And off the back of this, it is just going to be the factory. So no 2-1-1s, no 3 racks, just good old standard Terran builds. If it does come home, and the Adept gonna try and get it, but actually a little bit of a miss shade right there is going to be the death of it. We do see BYUN gonna be going for that 1 Hellion. It should only be that 1 Hellion. Just to kind of get some scouting information as well as kind of just forcing these Adepts to stay off his turf. You know, Hellions don't really do a ton of damage versus Adepts, but they can be very good to kind of just force them back. And off the back of this, straight into Widow Mines. Everything's right with the world. Not in Nice's world, though, as we do see 2 additional gateways coming on in. And we do see the Warp Prism as well. So he is going to be a greedy, aggressive boy right now. And BYUN actually confirms that there is no 3rd just yet. Might actually slow it down. like two ships passing in broad daylight. Oh man, beautiful pickoff there from BYUN. The War Prism goes down relatively quickly. The Adepts will force the medevac to come home, but they will actually be able to get out of there. So they will live to fight another day, and this does mean that this drop out of BYUN is a little bit slower, which will give time for... excuse me there, I was thinking time, the player, but no, it does give a lot of time to Nice to kind of set up a more general defense. The Widowmine as well, just going to try and bait away from the third, slowing down the expansion of Nice once again. I think he's kind of just faking the fact that he wants to go up to a third base. I feel like he might just want to stay on two and go for some sort of all-in. Albeit that is a rare opportunity to see. So getting 7 workers. Nice, nice, beautiful. And on the back of that, we do have Templar Archive and Charge. So we're going to be seeing that Archon Charge army coming on up, which does do pretty well versus siege tanks. And honestly, it kind of just feels like BYUN is freestyling at this point. Even going to get that Banshee just for a little bit of extra harassment damage. Recall is used to pull the Stalkers home to deal with the auto turret. But, you know, only 2 workers going down, so not the biggest of a loss. That being said, 46 to 55. Never a position you want to be in. Ooh. We have a storm drop on the way. So we'll have to keep an eye on that Warp Prism here. The Banshee will come in. Doesn't get any work done just yet because there are no probes on this location. Storm about 20 seconds away from finishing. And yeah, BYUN, he's trying to just power up on these 3 bases. So that's really all he's going to try to do. And nice. First storm lands beautifully. The second one does get dodged, so only gets 1 worker there. But they are so deadly weakened for the next time that he decides to go on in. 1 missile turret is not going to be enough because the Prism does have speed. And this is actually going to prompt Nice to say, you know what? I'm coming now. I'm not going to waste any time trying to push an advantage that I don't even think he has. This is a risky move. If he doesn't land good storms, which, by the way, he doesn't have any High Templar, this is just going to be a hard position for him to get into, but he does catch quite a few of these bio units, the Stalkers in the front, however, trying to engage straight into the Marauders. And Nice, actually just going to tap out. BYUN takes the game.